Hi, Alberto. Welcome to GTM Expertise. Thanks for taking the time.
Hi, Ben. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the GTM reflections from a chief product officer, which is where you are now. But it'd be great to hear how you got to where you got to, like a bit about your career and how you got to Checkley today. That'd be great.
Of course, yeah. I'm happy to give you an insight into how I got here, which is a little bit by per chance. Like it's actually like a little bit of the destiny that takes you where you are, right? So or it's a sum of your traumas as well.
Sure.
So yeah, like I originally started as a software developer in very early in the process. I remember we had a product manager, which was like a hated figure for me at that point. But there was this one time where this guy quit and the CEO came down. It was a very small startup. Came down to the basement where we were coding and said, "Hey, like, who wants to become the next PM? Like, the PM quit. Like, who wants to be?" And no one said anything, right? No one wanted to be the PM. And then the guy turned to me, and I was super young at the time. It was me like 24, 25. He turned to me and said, "Hey, Alberto, you're the only guy who can talk to people here, so you're gonna be the PM now."
Okay.
I was like, "Oh hell, what does that mean, right?" And I
Yeah.
I started like learning the job and learning like how to become a PM ever since. I've pretty much always been in the PM in pure product management my whole life. Although, like at some point, I did a shift into go to market. I did work as a technical account manager, solutions architect, right at Brightcove, where that company might ring the bell to you. Pre IPO, I joined Brightcove, super fun company to be in, like product market leaders. And yeah, a little bit down my career, I just got back to product management.
Hmm.
I had several startups in the product management side. And then I had the opportunity to join New Relic as a product manager as well.
Hmm.
New Relic just acquired the company of some good friends of mine, which was called Daxboard. And then after the acquisition, like they started hiring here in Barcelona, where I'm based actually. And yeah, like I joined them. I joined them very early in the Barcelona journey. Barcelona was like a small office for New Relic at the time. It was about like 12, 14 people. And we scaled the Barcelona office to become like 250 plus engineers, designers, product managers. Yeah, we grew pretty big the Barcelona office for New Relic, and we did pretty amazing things for New Relic from here from Barcelona with all the dashboards technology, SLIs, infrastructure monitoring products, all the platform, UI platform, backend platform, ingestion. So it was a lot of very talented people here.
Mm.
And I was leading product management there. And at some point, I was feeling exhausted of the perks of working in a big company, big listed company. And after New Relic got acquired by a private equity firm, and then I thought that was the end of my journey as well. So I ended up quitting. And then I met, perchance, like I just met Hannes, the CEO of Checkly, one day. And I felt like Checkly was fulfilling everything that I always wanted an observability platform to become, right? Or I always strive for efficiency, being affordable, being an affordable platform, and having a matching between, investment and return.
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
at that point, observability platforms, and I think up until today, traditional observability platforms are more on the side of send me all your data, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna charge you crazy bills for all your data, and you're gonna have it available here, but you will need to figure out what's wrong.
Right.
And I always thought that there should be a better way. And when I met Hannes and I met the team, I figured they had the right vision, and I decided to join them. And I'm now the chief product officer for Checkly for over a little bit more than a year.
Awesome.
I've been acting as a chief product officer and yeah, like leading the strategy, working very closely with go to market, working very closely with engineering, design, and obviously like leading the whole function of product
Amazing.
development here.
That's great. One of the things I think is interesting to reflect on for sort of outside of the topic today, but the journey you've been on is not different to a lot of people I know. And if someone's sitting there watching this video and they're thinking of whether they go this way or this way or this way, I think you don't really know where you're going to go and where you're going to end up, but just kind of start. And your journey does go like this. It's chance meetings. It's kind of things that push you, things that pull you, and you end up where you end up. But that's a great story. Yeah. Awesome. So one of the things I wanted to dig into as you're looking at this is, as we at GTM Expertise believe in a blend of sales, marketing, and product as kind of like the sweet kind of combination for go to market. And so your reflections on what you see from the product side are really interesting to us and to people watching. So, the first thing I think you've been to some kind of smaller companies. You've also been to some very big enterprises. So I think you've seen the scaling process, I suppose, is what I'm getting at here. Especially as the product and the company scales, how do you ensure your product team focuses on where it should be? Maybe first question is, where do you think the focus should be? And then how do you keep them in that focus?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I always say the same. The focus should be on the customer, right? And should be on the business. And the reason a company exists is to generate value for customers. There's no other reason why a company exists, right? So if you're not generating value for your customers, you're failing miserably, right? And as you're saying, like I've been so lucky to be in different companies at different stages. I was at FlowMotion, super early startup, video streaming startup. I've been at Brightcove, pre-IPO. Amazing product leader, amazing product market fit since the beginning. Then we lost this product market leadership, but also it came with the democratization of video for everyone, right? But it was a very interesting journey, like joining when we were around 100 people and leaving post IPO with a few acquisitions on our back. That was super interesting journey. I've been also at Nice People at Work, like a video monitoring company. Super interesting journey as well, where we just launched Euvora, which was the product monitoring. The quality of experience monitoring product, which literally took over the dominance of Conviva back in the day. It was super interesting journey as well. Then New Relic, I joined New Relic when New Relic was cool, and it was an amazing product market leader defining the application performance monitoring journey. But I think there's a common denominator in all of these journeys, or probably better than a common denominator, something that really defines when a company is successful and when a company stops being successful. And that to me is the focus to the customer, right? When you and that is something that as you grow, it's very easy to lose the customer focus, right? Especially as you grow, when you go to less than 100 people or less than 100 employees, still easy to talk to each other, still easy to to keep control on who you hire, who you promote, who you fire. It's very important to promote and to keep the culture intact, the culture of the customer focus. But then as you move forward and you become 100 to a 500 to 1,000 people to a 2,000, 3,000 people company, keeping that focus on the right thing becomes a challenge, because very quickly the focus starts shifting, and that happens naturally, right? The focus starts shifting into solving your own problems as a big company.
Yeah.
Or solving there's challenges that arise naturally as pre-IPO, right? There's natural challenges that arise when you're going through an IPO that you want to solve. But those challenges, you need to make sure that they're not pulling you away from really understanding who your customers are, how the market is evolving, how are your competitors doing, how are your customers liking your products, how are your customers enjoying your products or not enjoying your products, what are your customers asking for that you don't have or you cannot offer today, but you could.
Yes.
Right? So keeping that market awareness and talking to your customers every single day.
Yeah.
It's something that's really, really important. And to me, it's what separates or just keeps apart the companies that do succeed in the market And the companies that start to decline, especially as they scale and they grow, you lose the customer focus, you're dead. I think a good example of that is like, I always admire how Amazon, after like 2 decades, continues to having a ruthless focus to customer success, right?
Yes.
This customer focus, and also like the whole, I'm a fan of their product management practice, but everything is designed to make sure there's a problem to solve for a customer and there's enough customers with that problem to make a business out of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It kind of simplifies the equation now when you summer it down to that. But it's very easy. I think I've seen that in smaller companies, very small companies. They're listening to customers all the time. Oh, you'd like to build that. Okay. And you're trying to find commonalities that you can carve yourself a path towards some sort of platform to try and unify those requirements. And then you go off and you can start building it. And as you're building it, there are these other customers that you really need to be talking to, but you've got this kind of focus in one direction. And then suddenly, 6 months later, you've built a lot of tech and you look around and you're like, the market shifted. We didn't talk to enough customers, or we didn't get deep enough with that customer, or like another way, I guess, where the sales has influenced where the direction of the product goes because there's success in an area which you didn't really design for, but the sales is taking you in that direction. How do you manage that from your perspective, looking at it from the product perspective, and how your sales team gather that feedback or ensure that what you are building is for the right vertical?
Excellent question. There is no size fits all here. And I can talk about what works or what has been working for me.
Mm-hmm.
That is no easy task. And I think it's probably one of the most challenging things of a company while you're scaling the company, right? I think one of the things that I always ask my teams, and when I say my teams, like I believe like in triads, so we have always like a product manager, an engineering manager, and a product designer that work together, right? Or at least this is my philosophy, and that's what I believe in, right? And everything is they're part of the same brain, right? They're three legs of the same brain, and the product teams are designed to solve customer problems, right? And that is where I start, right? I start with like the triads, talking to customers. I like every day, like we need to make sure that we're solving a real pain, a real problem. And as you scale, that is becoming more and more and more challenging, just because like there's more and more and more layers of bureaucracy. But I think the biggest thing that you need to break is that, right? You need to fight the bureaucracy and make sure that there's a short circuit between like a sales team or an account team and a product team that's charged to solve this particular problem. And as you were saying, market is going to drift. Market is a living thing. It's not like, oh, I have product market fit today with this product, and that ensures my revenue for the next 10 years. That's not how it works.
No.
The way it works is that the market is so dynamic, and even more today, right? And we're going to see, I think we're just now in the tipping point where that's going to go, I think it's going to go nuts in the next 2 to 5 years with AI and the depend of AI. So it's going to go even more crazy than it is today. But the market dynamics are just insane. And even if you don't keep a finger on it, and you don't keep the pulse of the market, and not you as a leader, but your teams, like the folks that are in charge of solving the actual problem, unless they can talk to customers and enough volume of customers, right? Because it's not like, as you said before, as you grow as a company, it's very easy to focus on the enterprise customer.
Yeah.
And over rotating on enterprise customers, it has the perk of money and today.
Yep.
But it has the threat of deviating your company from where it should be going. It's always a delicate balance, right? Between, all right, shall we go get this business that's right here, right now with this enterprise customer, or like we should continue doing that, which will increase our addressable market by X%, and there's probably probably a bigger fishing pond there than it is here with this one opportunity of 100K or more or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a delicate balance, and for sure it depends on how you solve it. Depends on the size of your company, really.
Yes. Yeah.
So
for sure.
Some stuff that I did in the past, I organized, and that's, I'm a big fan of organizations as well. I'm a big freak of organizations. And I like to organize companies in a way that ensure or just predispose them to succeed in the journey that they are in at the moment. And to give you an example, like right now at Checkly, I just designed an enterprise team that works very closely, an enterprise product development team that works very closely with go-to-market to fulfill the needs of all the enterprise customers. So all the other teams don't get affected by the request of enterprise customers, and they are all rooted into one team that takes care of them. Still, that doesn't warranty that we're going to do everything that all enterprise customers ask us.
Sure.
But we can have one team that's tasked to evaluate a given opportunity that comes from an enterprise customer, and we can have we can make a decision, a very strategic decision on whether if we take this opportunity or not. But if we take it, it's not going to affect the rest of our product strategy.
Yes.
It's just going to be like basically like this team being impacted in order to solve this problem.
So you talk about that. I think a lot of it sounds like that feedback that's coming back to you from these enterprise teams involves planning and how, like, without giving away maybe some of your competitive edges, how do you plan? You've got this strategic kind of viewpoint, I guess, on roughly where the company's heading. It's not going to be precise because that's maybe one year to 18 months away. You've got the needs of an enterprise customer. It says we need this feature next month. Like, how do you balance the that feedback loop and balance the ability to be very agile as a small company with also trying to stay on track? Like, how does that play into your planning?
Not easy either. But here's my philosophy. Like, I'm not a big fan of long-term planning.
Right.
I am actually a detractor of long-term planning, right? I don't think it helps you keep the company agile. If you go on let's plan for the entire year roadmap and we're gonna do this here, we're gonna do that there. I think that is an enemy of you keeping what we said before, right? Of you keeping the pulse off the market. So now how you balance long-term strategy or long-term vision with like money right here, right now, that's a challenge. Like, as I said, like what we're doing at Checkly is that we keep those two tracks very separately. And I would encourage anyone that's in the same size or momentum as a company to do the same. But it is a delicate balance, right? I pretty much always favorite the long term versus the short term, right? Because generally you can have like a bigger upside if you go have a long term vision than if you do like solve or tackle this particular problem for this particular customer right here, right now, right? So, but that's where you need to, or at least that's what I'm doing. That's where you need to balance, right? Is that problem you're solving for your customer relevant enough and material enough for your business? So you can actually turn the sales around and solve it. If the answer is yes, I do have enough market and I can upsell that, or I'm going to make like the rest of my customers happy, that is a good sign. If the answer is no, this is just one thing that you're going to solve for this customer, right? I would say, like, think it twice. Think it twice, because it's generally doing ad hoc things for customers. Just make your product more complex, harder to iterate in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are those signals you get that perhaps show that your product isn't hitting the mark anymore? Like, you've got, let's say you've had a product in market for 2 years, you've got a handful of customers working really well, or so you think they're working very well on it. Like, what signals do you get back from sales or from the customer or from various points, whether it's instrumentation on data that you have on the product itself or verbal feedback or like what are the signals that give you an indication it's losing touch and maybe your competitors start to go in?
Yeah, the best signal you can get is market signal, right? And I would, like, in our case, and that was true at Brightcove, that was true at New Relic, it is true at Checkly as well.
Yep.
We're using the self-serve motion. Like, there's a customer that comes, trials your product, puts a credit card down, starts using your product for a fee.
Yeah.
That's the best pulse you can get to the market. I mean, the enterprise sales are as well, but the enterprise sales are influenced by your awesome go-to-market team.
Yeah.
And your go-to-market team can influence and
Yes, they can.
some influence into this customer is buying this product, or this customer is using this product and is using it in this way, right? We can moderate, or we can modulate the message for that customer to use your product, or use our products in a
That's right.
certain way, right? But the self-serve or PLG motion is the most honest form of consumption of your product, and basically measures your relevance in the community and measures
Yes.
your product market fit ruthlessly. Like, I
Yes.
look into metrics such as, you know, visits, signups, activation, subscriptions to the product. I measure those. We actually, in the executive team, we review those metrics as a group uh, every week, because those are the poles of the market. If we start
Yep.
losing track, the earliest signal we are going to see against a competitor. I mean, if we start losing track against a competitor,
Sure.
or in the market as a whole, the first thing we're going to see, we're not going to see it coming from our enterprise customers. Our enterprise customers will come to us maybe in a renewal cycle and tell us about, oh, there's this other thing that we see that maybe it's more interesting, more convenient for us.
Yes.
But that early signal comes ruthlessly if there's monthly paying customers. And these
Yes.
customers stop paying you
Yes.
because there's something better, something cheaper, or something faster out there. And that is what you need to pay a close attention to. If your self-serve business is not working, that is a good sign of, you might have like a very successful enterprise customer, might have even a very successful enterprise motion, but that means that your product is becoming less and less relevant to the community, right?
Yes.
And if you want to drive a very successful product, like, that is something you really need to pay attention to.
That's brilliant. I love that. I think the self-serve motion gives you the real sense of how folks will use your product in general. I mean, like you said, the enterprise one might stick to a specific workflow, but you can be sure that these self-serve people coming from all over the world will use your product in a way you never thought they might. But that gives you lessons anyway, right? I mean, that's super important. The other thing I thought about was whilst we were talking was around your product teams that are building this. So you mentioned you have the three team kind of approach to your 3-person approach to your management. How do you keep them commercially aware? So, like, for example, I've seen this in companies. You get a product team who says, "Oh, we've got this really cool idea. This is something we found. By doing this, we can make this happen, and we think that'd be a great add-on for your commercial team." And then the commercial team, on the other hand, we could easily come back and say, "Look, for the 7th time, you really need to build this particular adapter because this is the file format that this type of customer uses day in, day out. We need to build it." So you've got these two competing kind of areas. How do you help your product team become commercially aware so that they understand how the go-to-market team is really dealing with that kind of frontline questions, frontline challenges when they have to explain that, no, the product doesn't work like that because of this reason? Like, how do you keep that going?
Yeah, this is again, like, very challenging, and even more challenging as you grow, right?
Okay.
Like, right now, when you're like less than 100 people, like, you can still have like product folks and engineers and designers, like, having good relationships with pretty much all the go-to-market team, right?
Yes.
You can have them like being like having this trust, and having that confidence that you can bring in anyone from the product team into a sales call, and the other way around, right? You can call in anyone from the go-to-market team to a product meeting just to provide feedback. I think that's one of the things that, as you scale and as you grow, are harder and harder and harder to keep track of, right? Or harder and harder and harder to keep, like, this blending nature of, we're not like, hey, there's product here and there's go-to-market there. I think that is the biggest problem that happens when you grow, right? The two sides of the company, the go-to-market company and the engineering company, just polarize, and they go into their own corners and they fight their own fights, right? And then, like, you have, like, as a go-to-market team, I felt that, like, but these guys, why are they not solving this problem, which we're seeing like with every customer, right? And the other way around, like, you go into the product side and say, oh, but these go-to-market folks are not seeing the opportunity we're building for.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest problem, right? And I think that sense of like, community and bringing people together needs to shine, right? I think it needs to be the beacon of where you're going as a company. If you have like this trust and you keep this trust and you keep the doors open, because like most of the times it's like, oh, as a product manager, I myself experienced the overwhelming like rush of go-to-market folks coming and asking for stuff.
Yes.
I was leading dashboards at New Relic, and I will have like every day I will open my Slack, and I will have tens of AEs or solutions are asking me for stuff, right? Hey, I need that, I need that, I need that, I need that. Obviously, like Dashboards was one of the most used product at New Relic.
Yes.
But like it's overwhelming. So there's a few things you need to develop there, right, in order to communicate with the market efficiently. One, like you need to make sure that everything you do or you're doing comes with a why we're doing that and why the customers have been asking for that. Because like it needs to be very clear for everyone why things are doing. But then you need to also retrofit that with what is the marketing asking for, right? Why is the marketing asking? Why is the market asking? Because these generally, and again, like as you go, everyone in their corner, like it is very easy for product to, build their own agenda and go on their way. And it's very easy for go-to-market to build their own agenda and go on their way, right? But unless you open these doors, and those are revolving doors, it's not that it's written on stone what product is saying without the go-to-market feedback, right? It cannot be like that. It cannot go like, which I've experienced that as well a lot of times in my career, right?
Yeah.
Product is saying we're going in that direction, and this is like, you cannot change that. It's going to be like that for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
That is very frustrating, right? Especially if you're in the field and you're feeling the heat of the market and you're wondering like, why are we not solving this long-standing problem? Why are we not? So yeah, like
I love that.
Keep the
I love that. And I think the what you mentioned there with the product and the GTM teams together, there were times definitely in my career where I've gone out as a sales engineer, pre-sales or salesperson, sales manager. And when it works and when behind you, you've got this, typically the product team might not be with you, but they're with you. It's a great feeling when the product market fits right, the product team's behind you, you're singing exactly from the same place and you nail it with the customer knows what they're getting and you can deliver 100% because it's, that's quite a sweet spot. I don't think that happens like all the time, but it's what everyone wants to get to.
Yeah, 100%. But it is very important that a product manager specifically can sit with the customer, understand the problem, but can also sit with the go-to-market folks and understand like, hey, how many more customers we're seeing with this problem, right?
Yes.
But this empathy and generating this empathy, to me at least, it is the key of success, right? The key of success is a team that works to support the go-to-market, a product team that works to support the go-to-market team, and a go-to-market team that's going to take the back of product when there's things that just, we cannot do that right now, or that's not going to come until like the next 6 months because X, Y, Z, right? So building this empathy and this like teamwork is fundamental. And especially in the world, right?
Yeah. I mean, on a real basic level, without the GTM team doing well, the product team can't really exist. They need the GTM team to sell the product, and vice versa. Without a good product team that's in sync with the GTM team could be out in the field and they've got no chance. And ultimately, that's the success of the company right there. Therefore, that relationship is extremely key. It makes sense even from the very beginning. Maybe one of the last things before we finish would be, on that note, like if I'm starting out as a product manager or I'm head of product in a startup, I'm early in my career. If you remember those times, like what would you tell that person is most important? You've already said like intense focus on the customer and creating value is a no-brainer, but like anything else beyond that you would tell them to focus on in those early steps as they try to forge a product management career?
Wow. If you're starting a product management career, the first thing that I would recommend is act as a sales folk, act as a go-to-market person, go to all customer meetings you can. Like if it's first time hired, like the thing that I always do in my companies when I join, the first thing that I ask to the go-to-market team or the go-to-market leader, whatever, is tell the AEs that I am happy to join all their meetings of the week. And for a couple of weeks or 3-4 weeks, I will join all the meetings, just sit as a fly in the wall, just learn about the process, right? How is the sales process? What are the interjections? What are the pushbacks? What are the needs? What resonates? What doesn't resonate? Just learn from the perspective of the market, like how your product is doing. That would be to me like the product manager in the end is the representative of the market inside the product engineering team, right? So unless you understand the market, you're not going to be able to do a good job. So first off, understand the market, and don't do that only once, twice. Like do that consistently, right? Try to be on top of your business consistently. Then as you grow in your career, like I think like being a product manager, first like understand your product, understand the people. It's very important to understand who you're working with. Who surrounds you is always or it's pretty much going to define your success, right? How you can execute is going to define your success as well, right? So like product, people, process, that's what defines you as a product manager.
Perfect. That's brilliant, Alberto. Thank you very much for your time with sharing all this with GTM Expertise. It's been great to hear about your journey, and wish you all the success at Checkley, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Thank you very much, Ben.
Thanks, Alberto.
Lovely meeting you.
Take care. Bye-bye.